Welcome to the Store Builders Podcast, the place where we talk to industry experts and successful store owners about what it takes to build a thriving e-commerce business. Every episode, we deliver the raw, unfiltered recommendations that will catapult your store to new heights. Ready to get serious about expanding your e-commerce empire? Well, then let's get to work. I'm your host, Ryan Cowden, and this week we're joined once again by Chris Lemma. In this episode of the Store Builders Podcast, Chris and I discuss the ways you can incorporate chatbots into your online business. One of the most enduring trends in business is the trend toward user efficiency. Many shoppers prefer the ATM to the bank teller, self-checkout to the grocer, and a text message to a phone call. If you understand this trend, you'll understand why chatbots are becoming a big deal for online shoppers. Rather than go through the hassle of trying to contact a real person, shoppers want to fire off a few specific questions and get answers right away. That's where the chatbots come in. On today's episode, you'll hear what chatbots are and where they come from. Chatbots are a relatively recent software feature that can interact with your shoppers in an automated fashion. Next, we'll talk about where you can experience chatbots. This feature is now available on a variety of online platforms, as well as social media and other messaging apps. Then we'll talk about how to implement this new feature. There are a variety of resources that can help you get started, but it will be up to you to write out the scripts and interactions that your chatbot will be able to employ. Finally, we'll go over some best practices to keep in mind. You should plan on regularly analyzing the data from your chatbots to see what your customers are looking for. We'll also share some tips on how to write engaging chatbot scripts and ways to avoid some common pitfalls. If you're looking for a way to increase the efficiency of your website and customer service, then this is one episode you won't want to miss. There's a lot of actionable advice in this episode, so grab something to write with because you're going to want to take notes. As always, I'll be back on the other side to wrap up any loose ends. So without any further ado, here's my conversation with Chris Lemma. Chris, welcome back. Great to see you again.
Good to see you, Ryan.
Yeah. We're talking about chatbots today, which I'm really glad we're doing because just in my own experience online, I'm seeing chatbots popping up all over the place.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere. Yeah. So let's dive in here. What is a chatbot, though? What is it actually?
It's a robot that it was built and stuck inside of a computer. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It's a very small person stuck in the computer right in front of you, and they're just chatting back and forth with you.
That's a real person.
That's a person. So it is a the simplest way to describe it is software. It is just another software package, and it is meant to interact with customers via short amounts of text. Hence the term chat comes from that, because you're going to have this little back and forth interaction. And the bot is that it's software. It's an automated engine. It is not a person. So a chatbot is what it sounds like. Yet these chatbots are not going to take over the world. We don't have to be worried. People like to talk about AI. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be super complicated. To be able to. There are, don't get me wrong, right? There are more sophisticated algorithms, but those algorithms are often used to understand sentiment and to understand the words you're using, right? So they're processing it in much the same way that when you type something into Google, it has to parse the text that you gave it and figure out what you really intend. So yeah, that kind of artificial intelligence, but it's not like these bots are going to get super smart and take over the world.
Okay, that's good. Now, is this a relatively recent phenomenon? Is this like a new thing?
Well, 2016 was the year that pretty much everybody said, oh my God, this is the thing. Facebook rolled out their messenger with bots in it. And by 2017, I think Forrester did a study that said 57% of organizations already had chatbot live, a chatbot project currently under works or planned to initiate one in the next 12 months, right? So when you cross over that fast from 16 to 17 and everyone's like, we got to do this, it's because there's definitely some things that were working, right? They were showing that we are, as a people, we are lazy as lazy gets out, right? And so the most common request of a chatbot on clothing stores, the most common across all the clothing stores, right? Anyone who's deployed chatbot is, do you have this product, right? Whatever product it's called, right? In this color, this size. Now, here's the thing. We can all find that out ourselves. We can go into the store and into the product page and go pick the size and see if it's in stock or not. But that's 3 clicks. And we would rather 1 click. So what do? We go to the chatbot and we go, hey, do you happen to have, if it were me, right? I would be like, do you have that t-shirt in gray? And they'd be like, yes, right? Or if I say, do you have it in my size in gray? And they would say, yes. And they would give you the link. When you click the link, in the early days, the chatbot would just take you to the product page where you could order it. These days, right, often you get the link that puts the product into your cart, right? You're like, ooh, now you can help me check out. So because we're lazy, we don't want to do the work, right? We just rather interact. Millennials, right? More than half, a majority of millennials don't care if the chat is an actual service agent or whether it's a bot.
Okay.
Right? Which is a big deal because we've had chat services, we've had support for long before 2016, right?
Yeah.
We've had the thing that pops up and it's the live agent and the agent's like, how can I help you? Da, da, da. But when we shifted to the computer can do it, well, it's because it can't do everything, but it can do a lot of things. Like you can say, hey, what's the price of this product? Or do you have this product in this size? Or do you have it in this color? Do I get a discount if I buy more than 5, right? You can ask it questions and it will check and come back and give you the links or give you the answer.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering what this says about our customers and our shoppers, that maybe, people aren't just showing up and browsing anymore, that people are showing up and they know what they want and they know what their deal breakers are and they just want to get right to the point.
I'll ask it to you this way.
Okay.
Do you prefer for someone to call and talk to you or someone to send you a text?
I prefer text.
Right. As does everyone your age.
Yeah.
Right? and everyone younger, right? Because the old-fashioned idea of let's get on the phone and talk got supplanted with the newer version, which is it's non-intrusive. I can look at it whenever I want. I can reply whenever I want. I will just text you and you can text me back whenever you want. But this is the same thing we went through when we went from going into the bank and being at a bank teller versus going to the ATM. And when the first ATM came out, people were like, nobody's going to want that. I mean, they like talking to Susie. They like going into the bank and talking to their friend. Their friend is their friend, right? Their bank teller is their friend. They know their lives. They know the names of their kids. They chat. And you're like, yes, because that's how we did it back then. So of course we were friendly, but the ATM was the first technology that was adopted as fast as it was adopted, right? The first time it broke in the same generation rather than needing a second generation to be adopted.
Wow.
Because we said, I like efficiency over chit chat, right? And so what happens when you walk into a physical store and someone says, hi there, can I help you? And you're like, I'm just browsing, right? What you're really saying is not, no, you can't help me. Often what we're saying is, I don't want to chit chat, right? I want to be more efficient. I don't want to make a new friend. I don't want to make a best friend from the teller or from the sales agent at a store. But if we come in and we have a question, often we'll stop right at the front and be like, yeah, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to buy 50 keys and I want to know is there an easy way to buy those keys? And then if I want all the keys made, like if I want 50 copies of the same key, is there someone back there who can do 50 in a row? Because it's not one key that, and where do I go to do that? Right? Like if you had questions, you would ask the questions, but more often than not, we walk in and they're like, hi, can I help you? And you're just like, don't talk to me. So I think what happens, right, as generations go on is we shift towards this efficiency play that says, I don't care if that is a live person or a bot. If you can get me my answer fast and easy, if I can get that answer at 2 a.m, I don't know if you remember, there was a point in time when the live agent chats were everywhere. But then if I showed up at 10 p.m, it would show up and be like, no one's here to help you. And you're like, then what's the point of having that software there if no one's there, right? With a chatbot, you show up at midnight and you're like, do you have this in my size? And they're like, yeah, here's the link. You're like, great, I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah.
So
great. So let's talk about where we can put the chatbots, where this interaction is taking place. You mentioned Facebook. So Where are the different places that chatbots are being put into service?
You can get a chatbot from just about anywhere. So there's a ton of platforms that offer it, and Facebook Messenger is one, but active AI. I mean, there's a ton. There's a ton. I'll see if I find you a list of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bunch of chatbot platforms. ManyChat is the one that I use, and that's the one I was trying to remember. But when you want to build if you want to use a chatbot builder, and these days you don't have to write a ton of code for them. There's a lot of those platforms, right?
Okay.
The bigger question is, okay, let's say you build it, right? Where do you put it, right?
Right.
So just to circle back, right? Drift.com has a chatbot platform. Chatfuel has a platform. That one is specifically for Facebook Messenger, I think. The one I was just talking about, ManyChat, Bold 360. So there's a handful of these platforms, and you go, okay, these are very cool. The question is then, what are you going to do with them, right? And that affects where you stick them, right? Because we put in, at the company where I work at LiquaWeb and Nexus, we might put one bot on the homepage that is externally facing, and we might put a completely different bot in the Pro Manager when you log in and you have a control panel on the inside, because one on the outside is a pre-sales bot and the one on the inside is a customer service bot, right? And so you might interact with both different platforms. You might be reaching different data. Like if you're in pre-sales, you might have written a lot of scripts for how to answer the most common questions about buying. If you're in support, you might tap it into knowledge-based things so that when someone asks a question, you go, well, I think you're asking about this, and here are 3 articles. Do these help you? Right? Yeah. So the bots service different kinds of people out of different data stores of data using potentially the same or different platforms.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So basically anywhere where your company is, you could potentially put a bot there.
You can help. What you're really trying to do, right, is you're trying to help people get service without you having the cost of that service.
Okay.
Right? You want to help them be effective, efficient, feel like they're engaged, right? Effective, efficient, engagement, right? Mm-hmm. 3 E's of chatbots, coined by me just now. So, but you're like, that's what you want to do. You want to deliver value to someone where they don't feel like they need to call you and talk to you.
Okay.
And so to that end, pre-sales looks one way. The common question is, do you have this? Is this available? Is it available in the color I want, in the size I want, whatever? Think about it when you walk into an Apple store. A lot of times you walk in the Apple store, and if you actually are there to buy something, the guy says, can I help you with something? And you go, yeah, I'm wondering if you have the MacBook in the 12-inch edition, 13, 15. You're asking about availability of a variation.
Right.
You can do that with a chatbot. You might say, I want one of the iPods, right? And if they're still selling them, right, they're like, well, which color do you want? And you're like, do you have it in red? And they're going to check for variation of a different nature, right? Not the sizing, but the color. You might go in and say, I'm wondering if I can have an availability of a meeting with your tech people to fix my problem.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll say, here are the next 5 times. Which one do you want, right? When you're going in for a Genius Bar appointment, and a bot can do that. A bot can say, what's available, what's free. Okay, show you those that are available, and you click it, and now you have an appointment. Well, in order to schedule your appointment, Mr. Lemma, we're going to need to get your first name, last name, and email. You put it in, and you're done. It says, okay, I'll send you an email that confirms your appointment. So bots can do the same rudimentary things that you would do with a person.
Right.
They can do them in an automated fashion without you having to have someone staffed.
Okay, great. So when it comes to actually implementing the bots on our store, how much of this is manual work on our end, and how much of this is automated by the software plugins that we're using?
So a lot of times when you're building out a platform, what you're doing is you're actually doing the work then, right? Not in the deployment of the bot, but in the as I mentioned before, let's say you were doing something that is customer service oriented and you want to integrate it to your knowledge base. that's the work that a store builder might have to do, right? To connect the dots between here's a bot platform, and the company has a knowledge base set of articles, and now I need to make sure that this guy can access the data and pull it in and use it for training or use it for the ability to guide people there based on keywords or what have you, right? On the flip side, if you're doing a pre-sales thing, there's work in terms of creating the tone, in terms of what questions you ask. So these bots often have little scripts, right? Like, hi, I am Chris, and I'm here to help you with your WooCommerce order, right? Can you tell me about your store? Well, if I ask it, can you tell me about my store? I may not get a great answer. And more importantly, I may not get an answer that I can do anything with. So one of the mistakes is often we create these bots and we create dead end questions, right? Questions where we can't do anything else after that. And that kills the bot. So what you want to do is ask questions in a different way, right? So you say, hey, how many stores are you trying to create today? I might even give you an option, right? 1, 2 through 4, right? Or 5, more than 5. And now I'm engaging you in a way that you can answer the question. You click it and you go, that's great. So you're looking to build one store today. Is this a store that's existing or is this a store that's brand new? New. Awesome. Do you have a product catalog that you're going to be able to update, or will you enter it manually or upload, right? And so I can be asking you questions, but it's our job to build that script or that flow in the platform to know if they, it's like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Every person's giving you different answers, different data. What you don't want to do is just be like, tell me about yourself. And you're left with, well, I don't know what to do with that. Right.
Right.
So that's, there is work. It's a little bit of work to deploy the bot. It's more work to get it configured, trained, set up the way you want it to.
Okay. Gotcha. So is there a way to kind of build in a recourse where if the bot can't answer the question, it's relaying it to an actual customer service person?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You will often hear this on the earlier version of this was a telephone tree that you have likely experienced anywhere, right? If you call a phone number of any corporation and they're like, please listen closely, our options have changed. And you're like, okay, now what, right? And they're like, if you want to talk to sales, press 1. If you're trying to buy a movie ticket, press 3. Like these were all the same kind of things. They were just over the phone. But often you would get to, if you need to talk to someone, press 0, right? And it will escape you out of the queue of back and forth questions and automation, and it will ring a person, right? So many of these solutions have that facility to engage someone, like, hey, talk to someone, and you click a link and it goes, oh, okay, now we're going to get you connected to an actual person. What's nice is when those things are aligned, meaning they're integrated in, because then you might go from automation to an actual person and then back to automation without always knowing it, right? Where you're just like, ooh, that was really helpful. You get into the flow, and then the person goes, okay, did I answer your question? All right, here's a link to potentially buy this thing, and you click the link, and you're back onto a page where the automation bot is there again to help you with the final details, right? And you're like, ooh, this was helpful. So there are ways to get a hold of humans if you need to. Not every company lets you do it in real time, but some of them will let you click a link to. It sounds like I can't help you with this, like if they have personality, they'll write back to you in as if they're a human, but they're like, it looks like you have a special situation that I can't help you with. Click here to get one of my agents involved. And it might take you to a support ticket, right? So it might not be in real time, but you fill out the stuff and then you get, and the best ones pre-fill out a bunch of stuff for you, right? Meaning like they already know your name. Like if you gave them your name and you gave them the problem, and you might get to the ticket and preload a bunch of data, and now all you have to do is write a little paragraph and hit submit, and you're done. And you're like, that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's great. I'm wondering if people analyze the data that come out of these chatbots, because you could probably learn a lot from the questions that people are asking, or do the bots collect any data for you that you can analyze?
Bots do, and then there's a ton of analysis that happens, right?
Okay.
At our company, we read through all of the chat all the time, right? We're looking for patterns in the chat. We're looking for what are the most common questions. How do we head those off? Especially in pre-sales, you're just like, just let me understand what people are looking for so I can give them a better product experience, right? There's some interesting dynamics when you get into trying to understand when you're getting to the heart of, is someone happy or unhappy, right? And so there are engines who all they do is evaluate that, right? Like, is this person is this person complaining or asking a question? Like tone is hard to figure out, even for humans, much less computers, right?
Maybe if it's like in all caps or something.
Yeah. Or they just say, will you ever have this feature? And it can be, will you ever have this feature?
Yeah.
Or will you ever have this feature? And you're like, well, one of them sounds a little exasperated and one of them doesn't, right? And that's tone, and you can't, so there are engines where you can send this, you can integrate and send the script to the engine. The engine will tell you they are happy or they are unhappy and send it back. And you might use that data to split the route you're on, right? When someone is unhappy, you might escalate it to a person faster than if they're perfectly fine and just asking because they're inquisitive.
Yeah, it's a big help. Are there any other best practices that people should consider as they're setting up these chatbots?
Yeah, I would tell you that we already talked about the kind of the dead ends, and so pay attention to that because you don't want to get someone to a sorry, we can't help you, and then leave them there, right? But also you want to make sure that your bot has some sort of a sense of personality versus just a computer, right? Like, you're not trying to recreate Google via a bot. You're trying to recreate your best agent. So often, and you don't have to fake it. You don't have to try and say this is a person when they're not. You can just say, hi, I'm Chris, the automated engine for chrislemma.com, and I would like to help you. Can you tell me if your question is about one of these 4 topics? Because maybe those are the most famous 4 topics that are on my site. And if not, right, tell me what it's about. But by taking these things through, but having a little personality makes them feel like, okay, I'm enjoying this engagement versus just a staccato engine-like process. Answer this. Eventually people are like, I don't like this anymore. So there's that. I'll also say, having no idea what you want your bot to do. Do you want to reduce the number of customer support tickets that you're processing? That's going to shape how you do your bot. Do you want this to increase your number of sales by mitigating pre-sales questions? That's going to affect your bot. Like, have a goal, right? Have a goal. Be clear what that goal is. And the goal doesn't have to be huge either, right? It can just be, for every person who buys this, I would like the option to upsell so that I can increase my overall uptake of upsells by 10%. And you're like, great, then design it that way. So have a goal and test it thoroughly, right? And test it with all sorts of people, not just your engineering team, right? Test it with everybody so that they're like, yeah, this was really helpful. This is great. That will go a long way to getting you to a place where you go, oh, this is really cool and it's working.
Right. Chris, this was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, folks, there you have it. That wraps up our conversation with Chris Lemma. He shared a ton of valuable insights and advice today on the chatbot trend and what this new feature could do for your online store. We also shared some tools and resources, which will all be linked up in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Please consider subscribing, sharing with a friend, or leaving us a review in your favorite podcast directory. Until next time, best of luck in all that you do, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Store Builders Podcast.